Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, please be seated. The ceremony will begin shortly. Mesdames et messieurs, s'il vous plaît, vous prendre vos places. La cérémonie débutera sous peu. A few administrative points. First, we ask you to please turn off all electronic devices. S'il vous plaît, éteindre vos appareils électroniques. In case of an emergency, we have several exits at the back of the building. En cas d'urgence, nous avons des portes à l'arrière de l'édifice. You are also reminded that we are in a COVID environment. Le port du masque, le lavage des mains et le respect des mesures de distanciation sociale sont obligatoires. Donnons maintenant la parole à nos cadets qui nous présentent des biographies de nos distingués invités. You will hear Chief Petty Officer Annalise Holberg from 299 Royal Canadian Sea Cadet Corps, Mackenzie in Stony Plain, Alberta. Chief Warrant Officer Bryce Blanchard from 2563 1st Hussars, Royal Canadian Army Cadet Corps in Wyoming, Ontario. JCR River Southwind from Lac-Seul First Nation in Ontario. Et l'adjudant 1 Mia Roy de l'escadron 894 Charlebourg, Québec.
Welcome to this change of command ceremony. I'm Chief Petty Officer First Class Annalise Holberg from 299 Royal Canadian Sea Cadet Corps Mackenzie in Stony Plain, Alberta. Bienvenue à cette cérémonie de changement de commandement. Je suis la première maître de première classe Annalise Holberg du corps de cadets de la Marine royale canadienne Mackenzie à Stony Plain en Alberta. Je suis accompagnée de l'adjudant-chef Bryce Blanchard du corps de cadets royaux de l'armée canadienne First Hussars à Wyoming en Ontario, Warrant Officer First Class Mia Roy from 894 Charlesbourg Squadron in Charlesbourg, Quebec, as well as JCR River Southwind from Lac-Seul First Nation, Ontario. We will now proceed with the reading of the biographies of our presiding officer, our outgoing commander, as well as our incoming commander.
Lieutenant General F.J. Allen, CMM, CD, Vice Chief of Defense Staff. Lieutenant-Général F.J. Allen, CMM, CD, Vice-Chef d'État-Major de la Défense. Le lieutenant-général Francis Allen s'est enrôlé dans les Forces armées canadiennes en 1983. Après avoir obtenu un baccalauréat spécialisé en statistique de l'Université Queen's en 1987, elle a suivi l'instruction en génie électronique et des communications, CRJC, en 1988. Following CELE training, her early operational postings were the 764 Communications Squadron, the Canadian Forces School of Communications and Electronics in Kingston, Canadian Forces Station CARP, and 76 Communications Group. Lieutenant General Allen has commanded at multiple levels throughout her career, including officer commanding the National Systems Management Center in Ottawa, at the Aerospace and Telecommunications Engineering Support Squadron in Trenton, as well as the Canadian Forces Network Operations Center and the Canadian Forces Information Operations Group. Parmi ses affectations à l'état-major, mentionnons les postes d'officier des opérations du Centre de protection de l'information, d'adjointe exécutive au vice-chef d'état-major de la Défense et de directeur des opérations de soutien à l'état-major interarmée stratégique. À sa promotion en 2014 au grade de brigadier-général, elle a assumé les fonctions de directeur général sécurité de la Défense au quartier général de la Défense nationale. Le lieutenant-général Allen a aussi exercé les fonctions de directeur général cyberespace, de directeur général opérations au QGDN et de commandant de la composante cybernétique des forces interarmées. Elle a été nommée vice-chef d'état-major adjoint après avoir été promue major général en juin 2018. Elle a été promue au grade de lieutenant-général en juillet 2020. In July 2020, Lieutenant General Allen was appointed to serve as military representative of Canada to the NATO Military Committee in Brussels, Belgium. In July 2021, she became the Vice Chief of Defense Staff. Lieutenant General Allen is a graduate of Queen's University, the Canadian Forces Command and Staff College, and Canadian Forces College National Security Program. She holds a master's degree in defense studies from the Royal Military College of Canada and has been invested as a commander of the Order of Military Merit.
Commodore Josée Kurtz was born in Joliet, Quebec.
Le Commodore Josée Kurtz est originaire de Joliet, Québec. Elle a participé au programme de cadets de la Marine pendant 3 ans et fut instructeur du cadre des instructeurs des cadets pour 1 an avant de s'enrôler dans les Forces armées canadiennes en 1988 comme officier dans la Marine royale canadienne. Suite à sa formation initiale d'officier de marine menant à son brevet de chef de corps à la passerelle, elle s'est spécialisée en navigation et navigua des navires de classe frégate et à grand tirant et eut aussi le privilège de partager son intérêt et ses connaissances comme instructeur en navigation.
Commodore Kurtz deployed as a second-in-command on a CRJC escort mission with the United Nations World Food Program off the Horn of Africa. As the captain of the HMCS Halifax, she participated in the tasking to the Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Mission in Haiti, following the devastating January 2010 earthquake. She also had the unique opportunity to command a multinational naval task group as commander of Standing NATO Marine Group 2, SNMG2, the Alliance Fleet in the Mediterranean and Black Sea region in 2019.
En plus de son service en mer, le Commodore Kurtz a accumulé de l'expérience comme officier d'état-major au niveau d'analyste jusqu'à directeur général sur la côte, au sein de l'état-major de la marine et au quartier général de la Défense nationale, et ce, dans les domaines des opérations, de la gestion du personnel et de la sécurité. Le Commodore Kurtz fut commandant du 2e groupe opérationnel maritime de l'OTAN, la flotte opérationnelle de l'Alliance en Méditerranée et en mer Noire, de juin à décembre 2019. Elle a pris le commandement du groupe de soutien national aux cadets et aux Rangers juniors canadiens en 2020. Le Commodore Kurtz détient un baccalauréat en or de l'Université d'Ottawa et une maîtrise en études de la défense du Collège militaire royal du Canada, Kingston, en 2007. Elle est graduée du programme de sécurité nationale au Collège des forces canadiennes de Toronto. Durant ses moments libres, le Commodore Kurtz s'adonne à des activités familiales. Elle est amateur de photographie et fan des Blue Jays de Toronto. Elle est commandant honoraire de son ancien corps de cadets, le CCMRC 206 Joliette, depuis 2017. Le brigadier-général Jamie Speiser-Blanchet s'est enrôlé dans les Forces armées canadiennes en 1990. Brigadier-général Jamie Speiser-Blanchet joined the Canadian Armed Force in 1990 and graduated from the Royal Military College of Canada, Kingston, in 1994 with a Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Engineering. Après avoir reçu ses ailes de pilote en mars 1996, elle a été affectée au 430e Escadron tactique d'hélicoptères à la BFC Valcartier, au Québec, pour piloter l'hélicoptère CH-146 Griffon. In 2001, Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet was employed at One Wing Headquarters, Kingston, as the A3 Operations Task Officer before her posting to 403 Operational Training Squadron in Gagetown, New Brunswick in 2003. Then, she was employed as a line pilot and aviation tactics flight project officer prior to her appointment as a squadron operation officer. Les déploiements opérationnels auxquels elle a pris part comprennent des missions de maintien de la paix de l'ONU et de l'OTAN, soit à Haïti et en Bosnie, ainsi que des missions nationales en réponse aux feux de forêt, aux inondations et autres urgences régionales. En 2007, elle est affectée au quartier général de la Défense nationale à Ottawa, où elle a été adjointe militaire du ministre de la Défense nationale jusqu'en 2010. Elle a terminé le programme de commandement et d'état-major interarmé du Collège des forces canadiennes de Toronto et a obtenu son diplôme de maîtrise en études de la défense en 2011, juste avant d'être mutée au quartier général de la 1e division aérienne du Canada à Winnipeg, au Manitoba. Brigadier-Général Speiser-Blanchet assumed command of 403 Helicopter Operational Training Squadron in July 2014 and remained in Gagetown until 2016. Elle a ensuite occupé le poste d'officier d'état-major senior au centre de guerre aérospatial des forces canadiennes avant d'être sélectionné pour le cours d'études stratégiques et de défense en Australian Defence College de Canberra, en Australie. Le brigadier-général Speiser-Blanchet a ensuite été conseillère spéciale pour le chef d'état-major de la défense du QGDN avant d'être déployé au Koweït à l'automne 2019 en tant que commandante adjointe de la force opérationnelle interarmée Impact, la mission canadienne de la formation et de renforcement des capacités au Moyen-Orient. En juillet 2020, elle a pris le commandement du groupe de renseignement des forces canadiennes en tant que commandant de la formation.
Merci de votre attention. Thank you for your attention. We will now proceed with the next steps of the change of command ceremony. Major Cournoyer, back to you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the VCDS, the Commanders Cjcr, and the Commanders Cjcr designate. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour l'arrivée du chef d'état-major de la Défense, le commandant CRJC et le commandant CRJC désigné. Thank you. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the change of command ceremony for the Commander, Cadets, and Junior Canadian Rangers. From Commodore Josée Kurtz to Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, et bienvenue à la cérémonie de passation du commandement pour les cadets et rangers juniors canadiens. On behalf of our presiding officer, Lieutenant-General Allen, Commodore Kurtz, and BGen Speiser-Blanchet, we would like to acknowledge all family and friends who are joining us today via YouTube. Equally so, to all those members from our formation, our colleagues, representatives from the cadet leagues, and our cadets and junior Canadian Rangers from all across Canada who are listening in. Nous avons le privilège de compter parmi nous le lieutenant-général Francis J. Allen, vice-chef d'état-major de la Défense, laquelle présentera cette cérémonie. Also joining today are Rear Admiral Chris Sutherland, representing the Commander, Royal Canadian Navy, Major General Michel-Henri Saint-Louis, Acting Commander, Canadian Army, who is joining us online, Lieutenant General Al Manzinger, Commander, Royal Canadian Air Force, the CJCR Deputy Commander, Colonel Adam Carlson, the VCDS Command Chief Warrant Officer Martin Colbert, and the CJCR Formation Chief, Chief Petty Officer David Bliss. Welcome to all, bienvenue à tous. I'm Major Pierre Archer Cournoyer, and I have the honor to be your Master of Ceremonies for today. Je suis Major Pierre Archer Cournoyer, et j'ai l'honneur d'être votre maître de cérémonie pour aujourd'hui. Today's ceremony will consist of an address from the outgoing Commander, CJCR, Commodore Kurtz, the signing ceremony, followed by an address from our presiding officer, Lieutenant General Allen, and an address from the incoming Commander, CJCR, Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet. We will conclude with the playing of the CJCR March Past and a farewell video prepared by our cadets. Before the ceremony begins, we would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather today is on traditional, unceded Algonquin territory. Nous souhaitons reconnaître la présence de longue date des peuples autochtones algonquins sur ce territoire. J'aimerais maintenant inviter le Commodore Josée Kurtz à vous adresser quelques mots. I will now invite Commodore Kurtz to say a few words.
General Allen, General Manzinger, Admiral Sutherland, et en ligne le Général Saint-Louis, distinguished attendees, CJCR Headquarters staff, regional commands, corps and squadron officers, instructors, patrol leaders, parents, families and volunteers, amis, supporters et partenaires, League presidents et représentants des ligues, cadets, cadets et cadettes, junior Canadian Rangers, and importantly today, General Speiser-Blanchet. Bonjour, welcome. Thank you for joining us et merci de vous joindre à nous. Merci Pierre pour être maître de cérémonie, and I would say a very special well done to our assistant masters of ceremonies, the cadets and the junior Canadian Rangers, who demonstrated again in spades today the importance of the tenet of youth leading youth and hearing the youth voice. We never know what the future holds, and certainly when I assumed command of cadets and junior Canadian Rangers last fall, I never would have guessed that it would be for such a short watch. 10 months was definitely too short a tenure, particularly considering the great satisfaction I've had in this unique appointment. Comme ancienne cadette de la marine, pour qui la participation dans le programme a contribué au développement vers l'âge adulte et à la transition dans une carrière dans la Marine royale canadienne, je serai toujours reconnaissante pour l'opportunité d'avoir pu commander cette organisation qui offre tellement à la jeunesse canadienne. During my dog watch at the helm, I had the great opportunity to visit 49 corps, squadrons, and patrols in the course of 32 virtual interactions from coast to coast to coast. If my job as the custodian of the Canadian Armed Forces youth programs was to carefully manage allocated resources in order to optimize the delivery and the quality of activities, taking the time to regularly go down to the unit level and directly interact with cadets and staff was without a doubt the highlight of any day. Even when going to the West Coast late at night by the Ottawa time zone after a full day at work. In fact, I often said that when I signed out of those visits, I was so energized. Well, I believe I actually said that I was buzzing so hard that I had trouble getting to sleep. Durant ces maintes visites virtuelles aux unités où j'ai pu observer des activités d'entraînement locales, je me suis fait aussi une mission d'échanger directement avec les jeunes. Et durant ces sessions interactives, une des questions, parmi beaucoup d'excellentes questions, qui m'a le plus souvent été posée est « Quelle fut votre meilleure expérience dans les Forces armées canadiennes? » Si j'ai beaucoup de bons souvenirs, souvent reliés à des opérations et à des missions en mer, ils ont tous aussi été mémorables grâce aux gens avec qui j'ai servi. Mon commandement aux cadets et Rangers juniors canadiens se démarquera aussi parmi mes affectations les plus spéciales, non seulement pour les relations professionnelles, mais aussi pour les amitiés qui ont été tissées au cours des derniers 10 mois. If many of my postings have been highly rewarding, I can honestly say that very few have had such a positive impact for me in only such a period of time. Now, to say that we had a challenging year would be an understatement. To programs that are designed to be delivered in person, the persisting pandemic brought challenges and complexities like we never imagined and forced us into a predominantly virtual posture that tested our resolve on a weekly basis. But it also stimulated our creativity, and despite the hardship, we continued to offer our cadets and JCRs stimulating activities and opportunities to thrive and grow. Notre mission à la CRJC est humble et unique. Guider la jeunesse canadienne vers l'âge adulte et lui donner les outils nécessaires pour devenir des citoyens modèles. Cette mission est aussi colossale lorsque l'on considère les empreintes de nos unités d'une côte à l'autre et à l'autre, où quelques 10 000 adultes, incluant du personnel du SAIOC, des forces régulières et de la réserve, des instructeurs civils, membres de la fonction publique, servent plus de 54 000 cadets et au-delà de 3 200 Rangers juniors canadiens, dans les grands centres urbains jusqu'aux communautés les plus petites et les plus éloignées au pays. Anyone who's had command knows that a commander alone cannot execute their assigned mission. In exercising their responsibilities and in working to make the best decisions, they need to be supported by a committed staff, by a strong organization, and dedicated partners. In CJCR, we have just that. Alors, ma dernière tâche, avant de donner le corps à ma relève, est de mettre en lumière et remercier tous ceux et celles qui ont contribué à notre succès collectif cette année. First, the Formation Chief Warrant Officer, Chief Petty Officer First Class Bliss. Dave, from day one, you've been my closest advisor. With courage of convictions, you always spoke truth to power and provided honest advice, unvarnished, like I would say. In the privacy of one-on-one discussions, you allowed me to express my intent, which you always complimented or strengthened, with considerations I had perhaps not initially seen. Equally worthy of mention, you guided the staff, officers, and NCMs, and you were a fantastic role model for our cadets. Thank you for being a superb command team partner. I'll miss your sage counsel, but I know you'll provide the same loyal support to the new commander. The Deputy Commander, Colonel Carlson, Adam, I could always count on you to conduct the final checks before I made any decision, before I signed any file. As we dealt with challenging and sensitive issues at times, you offered workable solutions. In doing all this, you contributed to ensuring that we were always safe, honest, and ethical in everything that we did. Thank you. The headquarters staff, led by the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant Colonel von Finkenstein, and the D causes, Lieutenant Colonels Burgess, Butzfall, Coulombe, Olton, and West. Conrad, Steve, Peter, Mathieu, Donnie, and Dallas. In trying and fluid circumstances and with sound leadership and skilled management of your respective teams, you not only executed day-to-day regular business, but you responded to short notice arisings and planned ahead. Now, I will not name everyone else in your respective sections because I would risk missing someone and that would be unfortunate and most unfair. Mais soyez tous assurés que vous êtes distingués par votre passion pour le programme et par votre dévouement à la tâche. Votre énergie est digne de mention. The RCSU COs, going east to west as we've done all year. Commander Antonou, Lieutenant Colonel Lessard, Lieutenant Colonel Leonard, Lieutenant Colonel Letellier, and Commander Gresmack. Peter, Steve, Barry, Denis, et Stéphane. You expertly executed mission command by taking higher intent to deliver the desired effect in each of your diverse regions with their own realities. Malgré les défis imposés par la pandémie qui persiste, vous avez considéré les multiples mesures et restrictions imposées par les différents paliers gouvernementaux et par la chaîne de commandement et livré un maximum d'activités, non seulement pour garder les jeunes stimulés, mais les membres de notre organisation en santé. I'm grateful for your constant support, and my appreciation also goes to your HQs, area, and zone staff. Bien fait. And I so enjoyed working with all of you. Newly appointed commanding officer at RCSU Atlantic and Central, Commander Smith and Lieutenant Colonel O'Leary, Owen and Sean, as I said at your assumptions of command earlier this week, the formation will rely on your leadership, and I'm certain you will find your experience with cadets very enriching. The staff at the 1,103 corps and squadrons and leaders at the 150 JCR patrol. Your commitment to delivering the programs is second to none. Thank you for supporting our cadets and JCRs and for showing up every week to support your communities. I truly enjoyed meeting many of you during the different virtual town halls, leadership discussions, and training sessions we held. Our conversations were stimulating, and I learned a great deal from all of you. Les programmes sont entre bonnes mains grâce à votre dévouement envers les jeunes et par le fait même par votre implication dans vos communautés. Et ce, après vos heures de travail et en plus de vos obligations personnelles. Your commitment surpasses all expectations. Bien sûr, j'ai une mention spéciale pour mon corps de cadets d'appartenance, le CCMRC 206 Joliette. Vous savez que même après tant d'années, après mon passage au 206, vous avez toujours une place bien spéciale dans mon cœur, ne serait-ce parce que vous me faites toujours sentir chez nous. Les parents et les tuteurs, je vous l'ai souvent dit au cours de l'année, mais on ne vous le dira jamais assez, que la confiance que vous nous accordez en permettant à vos jeunes de participer dans nos programmes est bien placée et que nous encourageons et nous nous engageons à contribuer à leur développement en des jeunes adultes et citoyens responsables. The trust that you, parents and guardians, have that the safety of your children will always be our first consideration is instrumental to our success. And just like my parent trusted the program many, many years ago, I truly appreciate your support today. The 3 cadet leagues, led by their national presidents, Jim Hunter and now Hila Vitta at the Air Cadet League, Matt Waterman and now Brenda Pinto at the Navy League, and Kathy Bach at the Army Cadet League. Thank you for your ongoing, genuine commitment to our cadets. I think that together we made tremendous headway this year, if only in developing and approving the consultative framework to operationalize our recently updated Memorandum of Understanding. Une tâche importante qui assurera le futur des programmes grâce à l'évolution continue de notre partenariat. Your invaluable support, which complements Canadian Armed Forces resources, provides a critical contribution to the delivery of activities in our units. The front office staff. L'assistante exécutive à mon arrivée, Major Anne Léveillé, puis mes aides de camp, Major Nicole Stark et Capitaine Léonie Laflamme-Savoie, ainsi que l'agent administratif Yannick Vallière. You dealt with all my Kurtzisms with tact, patience, and indulgence, and you guarded all the entry points into the command office with the utmost professionalism. Vous avez géré le bureau avec discrétion et mon horaire avec flair, et grâce à votre soutien, je n'ai jamais manqué de rien. Je vous en remercie infiniment. For the CAF to run programs of the quality and the magnitude of ours, it requires support across the defense institution, high and deep in all level 1 lanes. If transparent to the cadets themselves, I can assure you that your contributions led directly to the experience we were able to offer on the water, in the air, and on land. Dans l'exercice de mes fonctions, j'ai reçu un support inconditionnel de la part de ma chaîne de commandement au bureau du vice-chef d'état-major de la Défense. So to the VCDS and their team, thank you for the latitude and for the guidance. Of course, I'd be remiss if I did not mention the support of my family, my husband, John, who has always a steady hand on the helm at home, although not very steady on his feet these days. And my kid, Dom, who is a great university student and becoming an autonomous young adult, both allowing me to fully focus on my responsibilities at work without worry. I could not dedicate myself to the demands of life in uniform without your full backup. I appreciate everything you do every day. General Speiser-Blanchet, Jamie, if anything, I hope that my lengthy remarks this afternoon compensate for our compressed turnover and give you an appreciation for the great organization you are joining today. Je suis déçu de ne pas voir le retour des activités sur le terrain de parade, mais je suis rassuré de te voir prendre la relève. I hope that my efforts will have put you in a good spot to move the programs towards a new steady state when the pandemic conditions are favorable for a return to the parade square. Key to your success will be the tenet of youth leading youth and the principle of hearing youth voices. You will likely see and first experience these from the inaugural Cadet Advisory Council, where 1 senior cadet per element from each of the 5 regions will convene this summer to deliberate and provide their ideas on how to evolve the programs. They will be led by Chief Petty Officer First Class Holberg from RCSCC Mackenzie in Alberta, a bright, impressive young leader whom I had the pleasure of meeting during one of my visits. You're going to be well served by her and the team. Les cadets seniors qui participeront au Conseil des cadets cet été se sont distingués par leurs pairs pour leur haut calibre et je suis convaincue que les résultats de cette importante initiative seront impressionnants. Now, I don't know what your tenure will be like, but I can guarantee you that you will be constantly amazed. Fair winds et bonne traversée. Cadets and JCRs, my final words are to you. I was endlessly impressed with your energy, resilience, and creativity. Thank you for letting me hear your voices, your ideas and hopes for the future. Your potential is tremendous and only awaits to be unleashed. Cadets et Rangers juniors canadiens, vous êtes des jeunes remarquables et vous m'avez marqué cette année. Votre potentiel est sans mesure, alors donnez-vous des objectifs pour le futur et continuez de travailler fort pour les obtenir. Now, like many cadets this year, I as well am off to university. My time at CJCR has allowed me to further my knowledge of youth, and this experience will help me and guide the next generation of officers through their studies and onwards to their career in the Canadian Armed Forces. I know from speaking to many cadets that their next step may bring them to the Royal Military College, and that being the case, I really look forward to crossing paths again. Pour ceux et celles qui choisiront de faire des études au Collège militaire, il me fera plaisir de vous voir sur le campus à Kingston. CJCR, it has been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to work with you. Thank you. BCDS, ma'am, my turnover is complete, and I'm ready to hand over the watch. Thank you.
Merci, Madame. Thank you, ma'am. I would now ask Lieutenant-General Allen, Commodore Kurtz, and Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet to proceed with the signing of the official change of command documents. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. I would now like to invite Lieutenant General Allen to come forward and say a few words. Ma'am?
So well organized, let me tell you. Lieutenant General Meinzinger, Chief of Officer Hall, Admiral Sutherland, online, Major General St. Louis, Colonel Carson, Commodore Kurtz, Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet, Chief Sworn Officers Bliss and Colbert, welcome to this event. So glad to be here. So glad that this is actually part of the community broadcast as well, out to all of the cadets and junior Canadian Rangers out there, the members of the leagues, the volunteers, the parents, the families, the people who care about this program. Very, very thrilled to be here today to do this ceremony that we have. Merci vraiment. Quel honneur vraiment d'être ici pour prendre part à cet changement de commandement. As Commodore Kurtz outlined, more than 54,000 cadets, more than 3,000 junior Canadian Rangers across Canada, 1,262 cadet corps and patrols across the country, over 9,200 COATS members, CIC, civilian instructors, coast to coast to coast, and countless volunteers. The numbers are impressive and demonstrate the significance of this organization to Canada. But what you're doing here cannot be expressed simply through numbers. The program is varied, it is vast, and it's important. You're shaping our future Canadian leaders, our future Canadian citizens, and to do that, it takes strong leadership on your part and on the part of the entire organization. Cette dernière année fut une année comme nulle autre pour les Canadiennes, mais aussi pour les cadets et Rangers juniors canadiennes. Sous la direction du Commodore Kurtz, les cadets et les personnes adultes de tout le pays ont réinventé vraiment leur façon de livrer le programme. Et ce n'était pas une chose facile à faire, ça a vraiment à prendre une énergie. L'entraînement virtuel est devenu la norme et les nouvelles opportunités ont émergé avec les cadets qui se connectent à travers le pays, mais aussi le monde. During this difficult time, Commodore Kurtz led by example and visited over 49 cadet units this year. Along with her formation Chief Warrant Officer, Chief Petty Officer, First Class Bliss, she logged in day after day, week after week, to engage with cadets and staff. And it's an amazing amount of energy that you put into that, Josée. She attacked it with determination, as she said, even when her day was over. It's not on the West Coast, and it's not in other places, and so she dug in, and so glad to hear that that energizing effect is what got you through, Josée. That's fantastic. Being the commander of the cadets and the Junior Canadian Rangers was, in a way, a homecoming for you, as you have said, exactly where you started your career as a Sea Cadet at 206 Joliet, and then as a CIC officer as well. She really is the perfect example of how the cadet program helps young Canadians become active, responsible, and engaged members of their communities. You have been that and all, and so much more in your service, in your career, Josée, within the Canadian Forces. 10 mois, ce n'est pas une longue période, mais il est évident que le Commodore Kurtz a un impact considérable sur le programme des cadets pendant son mandat. Elle a grandement contribué à façonner cette formation encore jeune, en y jetant son énergie contagieuse, son professionnalisme, tout en mettant l'accent sur l'écoute de les voix des jeunes. Listening is one of your most important skill sets a leader can have, and you've modeled that behavior admirably, Josée. Thank you for all that you've done in your tenure as commander of the Cadets and the Canadian Junior Rangers as you move on to your next assignment as Commandant of RMC. I know that RMC will benefit from your strategic, operational, and tactical experience and leadership, and I wish you all the best as you face the new challenges that you will have in that environment with your signature tenacity and resilience. Congratulations, and thank you for everything that you have done, Josée. Brigadier-General Speiser-Blanchet, you have been an outstanding leader throughout your career, delivering operational and tactical effects for the CAF, for the RCAF, at home, abroad, formation leadership for a complicated distributed intelligence function, and providing advice at the strategic level. So you have really on the range of activities across the CAF. And in this new role that you have, you are going to be inheriting the important responsibility for the best youth program in Canada. Year after year, Canadian parents put their trust into our CIC officers, into the Cadet Organization Administration and Training Services members, into our civilian instructors, and into our volunteers to lead youth, our important youth, through this challenging and yet safe program. And it's important to be challenged. It helps you to grow, and I think this program provides such amazing opportunities for that. As a military leader, but also as a parent, you understand well how important it is not only to ensure an excellent cadet program, but the safety and the well-being of all those who participate in it, and to keep the program relevant and up to date in order to make sure that the future generations of young Canadians and youth can continue to enjoy it. And in this interesting year, Commodore Kurtz has laid out a path on that way forward, and you get the joy of getting to help execute that. A little bit hard for the old commander to have to watch somebody else carry forward the dream, but good work ahead of you. Vous avez de quoi être enthousiaste. La récente pandémie nous a montré à quel point votre personnel, qu'ils proviennent du quartier-général ou des unités régionales de soutien aux cadets ou les corps des cadets et des escadrons eux-mêmes est adaptable et flexible, et ça vous donne une force énorme. C'est une bonne nouvelle pour l'avenir, car vous serez en mesure de puiser dans cet optimisme et cette résilience chaque fois qu'un nouveau défi se présentera à l'horizon, et ça va arriver. Moi, j'ai l'hâte de recevoir les cadets sur la traîne de parade aussi, et j'espère qu'il y a une annual cadet review quelque part qui va m'inviter de participer. C'est une petite nudge. I have the full confidence of you and your team as you continue to work and bring the Cadet and Junior Ranger program towards a familiar and yet renewed and reimagined future. I know everyone is excited to be part of that work, and I'm excited to watch you help deliver that. Thank you very much, and allons-y. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Merci, madame. J'aimerais maintenant inviter le brigadier-général Speiser-Blanchet à venir à l'avant pour vous adresser quelques mots. Ma'am?
Glasses strategically placed in advance. Lieutenant-General Allen, Lieutenant-General Meinzinger, Rear Admiral Sutherland, Major General St. Louis, important command team partners, members of the headquarters present, Commodore Kurtz, and Chief Petty Officer First Class Bliss. Thank you for this opportunity today. I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome also to the broader Cadet and Junior Canadian Ranger family that we've heard so many positive things about today that are joining us virtually. I absolutely appreciate the trust, ma'am, that is placed in me by the Canadian Armed Forces leadership, and I know I have much to be grateful for. Je suis d'abord très reconnaissante pour non seulement l'honneur qui m'est accordé aujourd'hui, mais aussi pour la qualité de la formation que j'ai le privilège de commander. Selon moi, il n'y a pas de meilleur mouvement pour les jeunes Canadiens que le mouvement des cadets, et je suis très fière à me joindre à cette organisation afin d'apprendre et de contribuer à son développement. In the recent days leading up to this ceremony, I have been profoundly impressed by the passion and professionalism of the team members that I have encountered, and I look forward to meeting many, many more of you across the country as conditions permit. Over the past 15 months, the pandemic has created a unique and very challenging environment for the cadets and all leaders in the CJCR program. All of these teams, from corps and squadrons, the regional cadet support units, the junior Canadian Ranger patrols, through to the formation headquarters, have absolutely responded to the challenge and have worked very hard to continue providing credible and relevant training and leadership opportunities to our Canadian youth. It is clear to me that everyone involved cares very deeply about this program and both programs, and I am equally committed to furthering their success as we work to learn from the pandemic and adapt our activities moving forward. I intend to build on the positive work accomplished under Commodore Kurtz's command and strong leadership with Chief Petty Officer First Class Bliss. Josée, you have set a command-driven course that not only leverages the excellent relationships with key stakeholders, such as the leagues and other influencers, but has prioritized the cadet involvement and input. Your work with the Cadet Advisory Council is a key example of an exciting opportunity for cadet voices to be heard, and the benefit is just unmistakable for future discussions. L'organisation des cadets a un but noble et la grande responsabilité de développer nos jeunes Canadiens. Le programme, avec le personnel qui est dédié à son exécution, a le pouvoir de transformer des vies. Tant que je m'attends à des grands succès, nos jeunes vont aussi faire face à des situations difficiles dans la vie. Je crois que c'est l'attitude envers ces défis qui se développe très jeune qui leur permettra de vaincre toute épreuve. L'influence et le dévouement des leaders, des cadets d'aujourd'hui demeurent clés pour cet apprentissage. We cannot deny that this is a challenging time for the Canadian Armed Forces and the Department of National Defence in terms of transitional culture change and diminishing resources. So it will be important to strike the balance of an effective quality program within these realities. I absolutely look forward to tackling these challenges with my new command team partner, Chief Petty Officer First Class Bliss, and the entire team of extremely professional and dedicated members that are going to be with me. I believe we will succeed with appropriate engagement and collaboration as we equip the leaders of tomorrow with the right tools to handle challenges and the resilience to face the change. What better opportunity to make a difference in communities across Canada than by working with the upcoming generation of talented youth that are involved in the Cadets and the Junior Canadian Rangers. I absolutely can't wait to be able to reach out and make those connections. This experience is just going to be fantastic, no matter what challenges that we will be facing together. En conclusion, j'apprécie énormément cette opportunité qui est seulement possible grâce au support inconditionnel de ma famille. I can never thank my family enough for letting me do what I do. Josée, thank you for everything you have done. I wish you and John all the best in your new appointment at RMC. You're going to be an amazing commandant. I believe that your energy and your leadership will just be a tremendous positive force. We wish you fair winds and following season. And I now have the watch. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Merci, madame. So this concludes today's ceremony. We will allow the dignitaries to depart, but there will be a video following the ceremony. So we will invite you to join us as we have Commodore Kurtz interacting one last time with cadets and JCRs from across the country. Alors, il va y avoir un court vidéo après le départ des dignitaires qui démontre le Commodore Kurtz en train d'avoir une dernière interaction avec les cadets au Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever for the departure of the dignitaries, pour le départ des dignitaires. You may be seated, veuillez vous asseoir.
Okay, buddy. Stay down there. You're not going to stay there? Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. Come on. Where you go? Where you go? There you go, buddy. Good spot for a puppy dog, right? Hello everyone et bonjour à tous. Comme ancienne cadette de la Marine, je n'avais aucun doute quand j'ai pris la barre des cadets et rangers juniors canadiens en septembre dernier de la réputation nationale et mondiale de nos programmes. Mais l'opportunité de revenir dans l'organisation a été une expérience personnelle et professionnelle des plus enrichissantes, bien que plus courte que prévu. Today, as I turn over command of Cadets and Junior Canadian Rangers, I wanted to address you one last time. The past 10 months as the custodian of the Canadian Armed Forces youth programs have been among the most professionally enriching and personally rewarding of my career and have given me a unique perspective that I'm sure will serve me in my future duties. Cette année, j'ai eu la chance d'aller voir 49 corps, escadrons et patrouilles d'une côte à l'autre et à l'autre par l'entremise de 32 visites virtuelles. Aujourd'hui, alors que je vous tire ma révérence, j'aimerais connecter avec nos 1103 unités et 150 patrouilles à partir de mon bureau à la maison, d'où je vous ai rejoint toute l'année. During my 32 virtual visits, where I was able to reach 49 corps, squadrons, and patrols across the country, I made a point to engage with cadets and junior Canadian Rangers one-on-one through question and answer sessions. These interactions were by far the best part of my command. So let's do it again, one more time.
Je suis le maître de deuxième classe Lucarici du CCMRC 206 Joliette. Bonjour, Commodore Kurtz. Qu'est-ce qui vous a le plus frappé durant vos visites?
Chaque visite fut unique et reflétait l'identité de la communauté et l'histoire de l'unité. Mais la chose qui m'a le plus frappé comme étant un facteur commun aux endroits où je suis allée est la résilience démontrée face aux défis considérables de cette année et la créativité exercée afin de continuer à livrer les activités dans une formule différente. Le niveau de participation en mode virtuel était aussi remarquable. I will always remember the young cadet who was giving a virtual lecture on building an airplane model. Now, this would have been hard enough in person, but to do it through a computer screen without the ability to point, touch, and show took the difficulty to a totally different level. But he kept his focus and he never gave up.
Je suis le caporal-chef Howard Liu du CRJC 2 Pointe-Claire. Bonjour, Commodore Kurtz. Quel sera votre meilleur souvenir des CRJC?
Une des questions qui m'a souvent été posée durant mes visites est « Quelle a été ma plus belle expérience durant ma carrière? » Bien que j'ai eu plusieurs moments spéciaux, souvent reliés à des déploiements opérationnels, mes plus beaux souvenirs sont tous associés à des gens avec qui j'ai servi, à des amis que je me suis faits et qui sont demeurés dans ma vie au fil du temps. C'est la même chose pour mon affectation aux cadets et Rangers juniors canadiens, grâce aux personnes fantastiques avec qui j'ai travaillé et les cadets que j'ai rencontrés. But if I had to pick just one highlight this year, I would say that the welcome video from 4 CRPG has a special place in my heart. I would have loved to have the opportunity to go visit in person and have them teach me to play Sons of Labrador with them.
What is your advice for the next commander of CJCR?
The best advice I can give my successor is to create time to hear the cadets and junior Canadian Rangers' voices. Visit them and listen to their ideas about their programs. This, combined with her leadership and experience, will contribute to delivering programs and activities that reflect today's youth. Pour elle, personnellement, les engagements avec les cadets et les Rangers juniors canadiens vont lui permettre de mieux comprendre la réalité sur le terrain afin de maximiser les ressources qui lui sont allouées pour développer et livrer les activités les plus stimulantes possibles et qui reflètent ce que les jeunes cherchent.
What did you learn this year through your experience as Commanders Cjcr?
My time as cadet played an important role in who I am today, and it gave me the tenacity I have carried throughout my career. Today, I can say that being commander of CJCR has given me great confidence in the future. Et j'ai confiance que la prochaine génération de leaders canadiens est prête à prendre sa place dans la communauté. I learned how rich and diverse the Canadian Cadet Organization is and the tremendous impact we have in our communities across the country. Cadets et Rangers juniors, le Canada vous attend.
What are you most proud of from your time as our commander?
The level of citizenship demonstrated by everyone in the organization in the way we navigated the pandemic has been quite remarkable. Our programs are designed to be delivered in person, on the parade square, and I know that the persisting virtual posture has been extremely challenging. En suivant les mesures sanitaires pour se garder en santé, nous avons démontré que nous sommes bien les chefs de file que nos communautés s'attendent que l'on soit, et nous avons prouvé notre engagement comme bons citoyens canadiens. This makes me proud, et vous aussi, vous pouvez être fiers. Thank you for your great questions. Now, do you remember mine to you? Why did you join? Why did you stay? What would you change? Continuez de nous dire pourquoi vous vous êtes joints, pourquoi vous êtes restés et ce que vous changeriez pour améliorer les activités. Keep being great leaders. Continuez d'être des citoyens modèles. If I have no doubt that Cadets and Junior Canadian Rangers are one of the hallmark programs in Canada, I fully recognize that it takes high-caliber adult leadership to guide and develop the youth within our ranks. Il prend bien plus qu'un commandant pour livrer une mission comme la nôtre. Staff throughout the regions and at the national headquarters do an exemplary job every day. Nos officiers et instructeurs, à tous les niveaux, en font souvent plus qu'on leur demande et que pour combien on les compense. Parents trust that their children's participation in our programs will contribute to their development to adulthood. La confiance accordée par les parents que la sécurité des jeunes est notre priorité est un facteur essentiel à notre succès. Les partenariats avec les 3 ligues et autres organismes de soutien donnent des ressources additionnelles qui viennent augmenter la qualité des activités. The commitment of the volunteers from the 3 cadet leagues and other support organizations is absolutely commendable. And so, to each and every one of you, my heartfelt thank you for all that you do for our cadets and JCRs. Ce fut un privilège de travailler et collaborer avec vous pour la croissance et le bien-être de nos jeunes. Fair winds et à la prochaine. You're going to be a star, buddy. You're going national, buddy. You're going national.
Who's a good boy? We'll bring this.
Wait till the doorbell rings.
Oh, then it's going to become something different.
Yeah. I know that this is not the format of ceremony you're used to, but being here shows your dedication to your corps, to your community, and to your personal growth. Thank you for including me and for continuing this important tradition.
Mic drop.
Good job.
Yeah.
I felt it.